For those of us who don't have the space in our homes to have a big, glorious sewing space, I wanted to share with you what I did in my space. I live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. All of the bedrooms are taken, so I don't have an extra room to set up a sewing space in. But we weren't using my dining room. I had a small round table in here with enough seats for my family, but it was never used. And so since it was never used, I have reclaimed it and made it into my sewing space. It's not all big and glorious like those pictures you see on Instagram and those other social media spaces about big, glorious sewing spaces. It is what I have, and I have made it the best space that I can make, and I love it. So let me share with you what I have done in my small sewing space. So first, I'll bring your attention here to this bookcase. Now it has 8 cubes all together, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom, and it's currently a bookshelf, obviously, but on the bottom it has those wicker baskets. And right now, those wicker baskets contain clothing items that I'm going to donate. And once I donate them, that makes space for me to store more fabric. And you know we all need more fabric, right? So for now, I don't have enough fabric to have to worry about it. But I know that that day is coming sometime soon. And so once that day comes, I'll have the space already, and if I run out of space in the baskets, then I'll clean the books off and put them on other bookshelves that I have around the house, and then use those 4 top shelves for more fabric storage space. Next, I will bring your attention to my cutting and preparation table. This is where the dining room table used to be, the round dining room table. When I got rid of the round table, I bought another dining room table, except this time I made sure that it was counter height and that it had shelves. So I got a counter height dining room table because when I'm cutting and preparing, I don't want to have to be all bent over and hunched over trying to get my materials cut and risking cutting accuracy because I'm bent over and uncomfortable. Having a counter height dining room table means I can stand right up to the table, and it is the height that I need it to be for me to comfortably cut standing up fully straight. It also has some drawers, one on either side, that I store rulers and other things in that I need for my sewing. Okay, as someone who sews and I make quilts, we all know we need a space to iron, and I didn't want to have an ironing board as yet another piece of furniture that needed a home within this small space. So what I have here is an old shoe cabinet that I had bought for my shoes, but I was no longer using it. It was just sitting in my closet, taking up space, relatively empty. So I got my sons to bring it out here. I taped down a vinyl tablecloth that I had been using for art because I'm an artist as well, but I was no longer using this vinyl tablecloth. So I taped it to the top of it so that the wood wouldn't get damaged. And then I bought this wool pressing mat to put on top of that. So the vinyl tablecloth protects the wood tabletop from the steam and moisture when you iron. So now I have a place to iron that is permanently set up and is not something I have to pull out my ironing board, set it up, iron, take it back down, and all that nonsense. The cabinet I use as my fabric storage. It stores fabric that I have. I have plenty of shelves and spacing. In this single cabinet over here are projects that are in process. And this is where I currently store my fabric. But I also have those that shelving unit that I started this video out with as as additional storage space when needed. Over in this corner, I know it's a little messy, so please excuse the mess. But these are just some things that I needed to store and have a space for. Has my dress form for when I am making the very limited amount of clothing that I make. I usually make things like scarves and handbags, and I use the dress form to take pictures of the items that I'm making, such as the infinity scarf that is currently on it and the crossbody bag that you can't see. You can only see the strap of it. But this is the messiest corner that I have, and it has my art cart in here as well. As you see, like I said, I'm also an artist, and then where the Canon printer is, the shelving unit, once I clean it up and empty out the art stuff, will be yet another place for me to store things. Now, traveling over in this direction, right beside my sewing table, I have my newest love. This is the Cutie Breeze frame that is adorned with a Baby Lock Allegro and also automation software, so that I can quilt my quilts without having to stand here and move the machine myself. And also I can do bigger spaces, a bigger area of the quilt, without having to roll it up and shove it through my machine. Even though I have a machine that has a 12-inch throat space, it's still a job and a task to try to shove a queen-size quilt through that throat space to get it quilted nicely. And this allows me to do the quilting automatically. And the fabric you see on here is not a quilt, it's just the test fabric that they send with the setup, because I've just only had this for 2.5 weeks. So I've just been testing things out and learning how to use it. And then we go further to my right, and here is where I sit and sew with my Janome. This is the Janome 8200 QCP Special Edition that I purchased for myself in January. The first thing I made on it was this cute little storage pocket, so I can always know where things like my clips are, my snips are, and other small items that I use, like my seam ripper that I'm always misplacing. I also bought this sewing desk so that I would have a nice sewing desk that I can close this cabinet door on this side. I can close it up and it'll look like a nice piece of furniture, since this sewing space technically extends into my living room space. And then here I have another shelving unit, drawer unit, that I will again clean out more art supplies. As I said, I am an artist, but I'll clean the art supplies out and put them elsewhere, and then I'll be able to store sewing supplies like this box full of thread. And of course, the cabinet has this cabinet door where I have other items that need to be stored for my sewing endeavors. So, as I said, you don't need a big, beautiful sewing space to be able to sew. You just need a space. And you need to look at your space, know what you need to put in it, and decide how you can lay it out to make it functional and make it work for you. I have repurposed furniture. I'm going to repurpose some other furniture. I spent a little bit of money to get the right height table. Which also has storage space underneath. And bought this cutting mat that is the exact size and length of the table. It's a little wide, but I rarely cut from one side all the way to the other side, so that's not a problem. And right now you see this beautiful Sankofa silhouette wall hanging, quilted wall hanging, story quilt that I have made. I just need to finish it up, and then it will be put on my wall. So I hope this helps. I know it's not, ideal for some. Again, I'm one of them. Dream of the big, beautiful sewing space. But since I don't have it, that's not going to stop me from doing the thing that brings me joy. And what brings me joy is sewing and quilting. Hope this is giving you some ideas for your small space. And just know that whatever you have, whatever space you have, is absolutely enough.